Hello y'all. Today I'm going to take a look at two laptops that I've had in my collection for a while. I don't really collect laptops or desktops for that matter, but I do like them a lot and I am interested in computer stuff a lot. So yeah, these are two laptops I've had for a while. Um, the second one didn't have an operating system on it, which I didn't expect. I thought it had an operating system on, but it didn't. So I thought we might as well look at two, one of which does have a operating system. So first we're going to take a look at this one. This is a Acer Aspire 1800. This is a mid to high-end laptop from 2004. This is one of the later base models of this laptop, because you could also get it in an even more ridiculous spec. But this is already pretty darn powerful for 2004. Taking a look at the specs, this Aspire 1801 is one of the base models, because you also had the 1802, 1804, etc. This one came with a Intel Pentium 4 515 processor, which has one core, no hyperthreading, at 2.93 gigahertz. So actually this has basically a 3 gigahertz processor in it. It has a 17-inch WXGA white TFT LCD, and this is the biggest laptop I own, and it is really big. It has ATI Radeon X600 graphics that uses the newer PCI Express interface instead of a GP, which was phasing out back then, with 64 megabytes of VRAM. It also came with a 60 gig hard drive, but that one was removed when I bought this laptop. It didn't come with a hard drive, and 512 megabytes of DDR1 memory. It also had Wi-Fi. You could also get this laptop with a 3.03 GHz Pentium 4, the same GPU except 128 megabytes of VRAM and up to a 120 gigabyte hard drive max. And also with Bluetooth, as far as I know. I think the max spec'd out model of this also had 1 gigabyte of RAM, but I'm not too sure. I upgraded the RAM to 1 gigabyte because this is literally the best XP laptop I own and I really like it. Or it's 768 megabytes. I'm not sure. I think it's 1 gig. It's 1 gig upgraded from 768, because this laptop was already upgraded from the previous owner to 768 megabytes of RAM. I further upgraded it to 1 gig. So yeah, the thing with this laptop is it requires a lot of power, and I mean a lot. This thing has 3 fans in it purely for that Pentium 4, and it's absolutely crazy, and we will take a look at that cooling system later, don't you worry. This one's 19 volts at 7.9 amps. The charger I'm using for this is a 19.5 volt 4.35 amp charger. Yeah, it doesn't like this. The problem with this laptop is if I do anything intensive on it, the screen will flicker. That's the GPU going into power save mode. Why? Well, it switches from the power adapter to the battery because the power adapter is literally overloaded. The laptop wants so much power that the power adapter can't handle it, thus why it switches to the battery, thus why the screen flickers, because the GPU goes into balance mode instead of performance mode. So that's the issue I have with this laptop. Also, you can see the very bulging out feet that it has. Those are for the cooling fans. Taking a look at the front, it does have a front display, but I've never really gotten it to work. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi buttons. Bluetooth button does nothing because this thing doesn't have Bluetooth. Buttons for the DVD player function, which I've never gotten to work. I have gotten it to work on another laptop, but I've never gotten it to work on this particular one. Speakers do sound really good, which I'll get to in a minute. You got a PCMCIA slot, a FireWire port, and 2 USB 2s, and an infrared port. You got a S-Video port, a Ethernet, and let it focus. An Ethernet and a RJ45 LAN jack or modem jack, whatever. VGA, large fence, the charging ports, which is nicely placed in the middle, which I like. Kensington lock you got here. Two more USB 2s, a mic and headphone jack, and a DVD drive. And a SD card reader is above that. So what have I done to this machine? Well, basically, since it didn't come with a hard drive, I installed a 20 gig hard drive from a laptop that I was going to throw away anyways. Then the 20 gig drive filled up really quickly. 20 gigabytes is absolutely not enough, but it was literally all I had laying around. So I then switched from another laptop, so I put a 40 gigabyte hard drive in here, which was much more sufficient. But the problem was, the laptop died during the Windows installation. While it was installing Windows XP, the power adapter, it kept switching. Since this is a Pentium 4, it eats a lot of power. I think this is like a 93 watts TDP CPU, if I remember correctly. I'm not too sure. It's really ridiculous. Either 80 or 90 watts or something. Absolutely crazy. It just couldn't handle it. I mean, the Windows XP installer was so heavy that it literally just died. Like the battery and everything just died. It got overloaded so heavily during the Windows XP install, it just couldn't handle it. And that's why it doesn't have an operating system on it, because it's not on there. Because I just can't. It takes so much power. And tracking down a power adapter for this is also really hard. So yeah, it's really sad because this is such a fun and cool laptop. It's so ridiculous for 2004. It has 3 fans. It's crazy powerful. Despite being a later base model, it's really powerful. I could also upgrade the CPU because CPU is literally just socketed. So it's a really cool thing. It's just that it takes too much power. It's too inefficient. It's sad. But yeah. Enjoy the fan noise, because I'm going to turn this on, and when it turns on, all 3 fans go at max. Yeah, there you go. Let's see how much RAM is in this. Let's go to the setup. How much RAM does this have? It has 1 gig. Yeah. As you can see, there is a 40 gig hard drive in here. And we'll set that to number 1. I'll show you that it doesn't have any boots, any operating systems on there. Also, like I said, the better, what was it called? Yeah, you can see right there. There you go. There go the fans. Listen closely. Those are the fans. But yeah, I bought this laptop for $20 at a thrift store, and I just absolutely couldn't resist. I mean, it's in really good shape. Yeah, if you look closely, the lid is kind of scratched up, but that's what the lid is for. The inside is what matters. Look at the inside. There's barely any trackpad gloss. The keyboard has 0 gloss to it at all. You know how keyboards wear down, right? How they just start glossing from usage. This is in such good shape. There's basically not a single scratch. Apart from the sticker starting to peel a little bit, this is 100% mint basically. It's in really good condition, and I just couldn't resist for 20 bucks. Despite that it has its power issue and that my camera has its focusing issue. But yeah, now we will tear this down for a little bit, and I'll show you the inside for a little bit, I guess, the parts. Also, here's a closer look at the fans, because, you know, why not? It's really ridiculous, but it's really cool. Here's the hard drive that I took out, and it is indeed a IDE interface, which sucks, because I barely have any IDE hard drives, and I had to swap this one from a different laptop. Yeah, that sucks. For a 200 RPM 40 gig hard drive that came out of the other laptop we're going to take a look at later. Yeah, it's not, I want SATA. I really need a IDE to SATA adapter. The laptop did come with its original bracket, which is really nice, because a lot of these laptops don't come with the original drive brackets, and this did, which is really, really nice. because that just makes the installation really nice and makes it fit together properly without, you know, it's moving around. Going to install this properly again. Yeah, I've fiddled with this because, you know, you can see the screws a little worn out. That's because I was struggling to put this back together multiple times, and I didn't put one screw in on purpose because, you know. Now we'll take a look at the battery, which was always a complaint with this laptop, battery life. Yes, this battery still works, and it actually works beyond my expectations. These are the cells that are in this are most likely Sanyo cells, because, well, I can just tell you this. Sanyo cells were always known for overheating in laptops. It doesn't overheat, but it does warm up slightly, and it does say something with Japan on here. So I'm pretty sure these are Sanyo cells inside of this, but just ones that have survived properly, I guess. But yeah, this battery works fine. It is 14.8 volts, 4000 milliamp hours. I don't know why it has two contacts here. If anyone can tell me in the comments, that would be nice. Maybe for like an extended battery pack or something. But I did take a look at comments about this laptop, and one of the constraints was battery life. I managed to get around 25 minutes out of this really, really old 19-year-old battery, and the original battery life of this was anywhere between 30 to an hour of time, like 30 to 45, I think. So that is pretty darn impressive. We will now take a look at the RAM, which I can't because I'm stripping the screws. Well, I'm sorry guys, but I can really not get the RAM out. I mean, the screw is pretty stripped, and I don't want to strip it too much because my friend has a screwdriver that literally fits perfectly with these screws, so I don't want to completely ruin it. But yeah, we will take a look at the cooling system right now. This big plastic chunk here. Well, I'm really sorry guys, but I can also not get the I'm sorry guys, but I can also not get the cover to come off. So yeah, I'm really sorry, but that's it for this laptop. Yeah, we will go on to the other one now. I can literally feel the charging circuitry is warm because it just doesn't get enough power. That's also what happens. Really creepy. So the next laptop we're going to take a look at is this Haier H51, and I know what you're thinking. I've never heard of that in my entire life, and this is indeed a really rare laptop, and it came with all its original things when I got it. I got this for $5 at a random thrift store, and I've had it for like a year now or something, and I never got around to successfully making a XP laptop out of this. It came with a slightly corrupted XP install, a original Haier one, with a lot of personal stuff from the previous owner on it, and that's why I wanted to keep it, because it had some really nostalgic stuff on there. But I was like, why not just turn this into a really nice laptop that I can actually use? Because the Windows XP theme was completely, it was gone. The Windows XP theme was just gone. It was just corrupt. It was gone. Yeah, it wasn't too nice. Let me put the Acer away now, because I want y'all to forget that, because I wasn't even able to take it apart. This will be able to be taken apart, and this has one, you know, I'm not even sure if I will take this apart on camera, but I will turn it on now. It is pretty worn. It is a pretty darn worn laptop. It doesn't have a ultra wide display like the Acer. It's definitely not as expensive. Funny how these take the same charger, you know. So this has a Intel Celeron M running at 1.5 gigahertz. So it is actually better than the Acer, I think. No, it's actually worse than the Acer, but it is quite decent. This does have a GPU, kinda. This currently has a 20 gigabyte hard drive in it. It came with a 40 gig drive, but like I said, that's in the Acer now. This has a 20 gig hard drive, and I will not be using this for a lot, so it's fine. The keyboard is missing a couple keys, but those are literally the most unused keys ever. So it's completely fine, honestly. Oh yeah, it has the... Speakers work. That's one thing. On the original installation, the speakers didn't even work. But yeah, it wants me to activate Windows. And I won't, because I'm not crazy. But yeah, this does work. It needs new thermal paste. It's pretty loud. It gets really hot, but I'm too lazy to. And the fan sounds really funny. The fan sounds like a car. The fan literally sounds like a Lamborghini, and it's really funny. The trackpad has a lot of gloss, and I mean a lot, lot of gloss. Take a look at that. Keyboard is pretty worn out too, but definitely not as bad as the touchpads. These front keys don't do anything. But yeah, as you can see, the palm rest is worn out. The battery is just... Well, you know what? Take a look for yourself. This is the battery life on this. It just dies instantly. The battery, you want to know how good the battery is in this? If I put this in sleep mode, it will last like 2 minutes on the battery. Wait, let me actually do that, because that's funny. I will turn it back on. We'll take a look in the BIOS as well, because this is quite a rare laptop. As you can see, Intel Celeron M, 1500 megahertz, 640 megabytes of memory. So that's 768 megabytes of RAM, shared with the video card. So that is 128 megabytes of VRAM shared with that. If I put it to 64, 32 or something, you get more RAM back because it's shared. This has a SIS GPU of some sort. I don't remember exactly what, but we will probably see that once I tear this thing down. I'm gonna let it boot now. This 20 gigabyte hard drive came from a Toshiba laptop from the year 2000 that was actually meant for Windows 98, but it was running Windows XP. It ran absolutely horrifically due to the super low amount of VRAM. It only had 60 megabytes of VRAM and a super bad GPU. The GPU was holding it back so much that I ended up just completely discarding the laptop, because I had like 3 or 4 laptops. I had lower specs laptops with worse CPUs that perform better because they simply had a better GPU. So I just threw it away, took the drive out, took the RAM out. It wasn't even that good for parts, since it was quite a cheap laptop. The 1 gig memory came out of a HP laptop that my friend bought, and it was such a mess. That's what the 1 gig RAM came from. The 512 Max that was in here was taken out, and I put the 768 in there from the Acer. But yeah, if I close the lid and wait for it to go into sleep mode, if it will even go into sleep mode, I don't think it will even do that. No, it won't. But yeah, if you unplug this, it's like, yeah, you see, it just dies. The battery's completely dead. So let's take a look. On the front, all we have is a hidden SD card reader. Right here. There's the SD card reader. It does work. I tested it. PCM CIA slot, headphone jack, mic jack, a USB 2, VGA upside down. I have no idea what port this is. Please tell me in the comments, because I have no idea. Ethernet and RJ45. Power adapter. Kensington lock. 2 USB 2s. And a vent for the ventilation. And a DVD drive. So taking a look at the back, we have our battery. This is quite a suspicious laptop, isn't it? It's really a weird model. I think it shares a lot with a Asus laptop, but no signs of Asus in here. I've tried my best. This is just a generic battery, 4400 milliamp hours, completely depleted, completely worn out. Always charged to 100. Always abused, just like many of today's laptops are too with their batteries. This was half open in the store, by the way, and I just shoved 1 screw in the middle there, and we will take that out now. You see, the problem with this cover, it all comes off in one go. It's a plastic cover that uses metal clips, which means the clips are really durable, but they don't go on well because they bend. Here's the graphics card. It's a SIS 302 ELV. I don't think that's the actual name of the graphics card, to be honest, but alright. It has a little button right there. I think that it shuts off the entire laptop, so I think it's the reset switch. Does this have a little hole down there? Yeah, that's a little hole. Okay, so that's a reset switch. That's a reset switch on the GPU, which is really funny. These are the two cables that go to the LCD, to the display. One is for the backlight, one is for the colors. I fiddled around. I unplugged them and replugged them in and just fiddled around with them. And this had major display issues. You saw a little issue that it had in the beginning where it like flickered. It did that at all angles. You had to put the display in a certain angle, like the lid. You had to rotate it into a certain angle and it would work fine. But for the rest, it would glitch like crazy. So I just reinserted these cables and that literally fixed everything. This heatsink, I don't remember what's under here, but it gets absolutely hot like hell. Here's the RAM, which is Samsung RAM from the the Acer. There are literally capacitors visible here. These are completely original, what are they called? Electrolytic capacitors. There are barely any, I don't think there are any solid capacitors in here at all. Yeah, that's the cooling system. That's your fan. That sounds like a Lamborghini. I completely cleaned it out. I didn't do the thermal paste, but I did clean it out all the way. Here's the hard drive, which also came with its bracket. Yeah, this is quite a nice laptop. The DVD drive, I think the DVD drive just slides out, doesn't it? Because the DVD drive is that how? No? Okay. This is manufactured January 2006, so that says something about this. I don't see a brand name anywhere, so I'm not sure what brand DVD drive it is, but it works fine. It does its job. It reads DVDs. This will be held down again when I put the screw in with the cover. But yeah, that's it. It looks really cool inside, in my opinion. There's our Celeron. Or Celeron 370, that's the CPU. Celeron 370. 1 core, 1 thread, 1.5 gigahertz. Yeah, it's actually quite a decent CPU. It sounds like trash on paper, but Windows XP performance is fine on this. It's pretty great in my opinion. The video chip, the graphics card is holding it back just a little bit, but it's fine. It does its job well. Apart from that, the cooling isn't too well, but that's because this thermal paste is from 2006. The GPU, if I take this card out, it says ASUS on the underside. So there's an ASUS part in here. But if I take a look at this motherboard on hardware info or something, it just comes up with Hayer H51. So this is a really mysterious laptop that, yeah, it's just really weird. It has a replaceable CMOS battery right there, and the CMOS battery still holds a charge. I don't know what the voltage is on that little guy, but it holds the information fine. But yeah, that's the Hayer H51. I will put it back together now. But yeah, that's an overview on the Hayer H51 laptop and the Acer Aspire 1800. I hope you enjoyed this really random and not well thought out video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you want to, and most importantly, have a great day.